Daphne, with your talent, you're definitely going to win this time. My fiancé asked me about my entry with visible excitement, offering to take my designs to the convention hall for me. It was at that moment I realized I had been reborn. In my previous life, Matthew Miller took my designs and replaced my name with that of his childhood sweetheart. With those sketches, she won first place in the national design competition and was even hired at my own firm. Meanwhile, I was framed by them, dragged into a plagiarism scandal, and even my own flesh-and-blood brother refused to believe me. So what if you copied it? Just apologize to them, they'll forgive you, he had said. That was when I discovered my brother had always been secretly in love with Matthew's childhood friend. In this life, I still handed the designs over to him, but they weren't the ones that had made me famous in my past life. I wonder if the three of them will remain as united this time around. Matthew held my designs, shaking with excitement as he repeated, "Daphne, with your talent, you're definitely going to win this time." He had said the exact same thing in my previous life. And the result? He immediately swapped my name for his precious childhood friend's to help her secure that first-place trophy. Because of that, I was hit with a plagiarism lawsuit, trended on social media for all the wrong reasons, and endured days of relentless cyberbullying. Even my brother turned his back on me, telling me to just admit to the theft so they would forgive me. Back then, I finally realized my brother's secret feelings for Matthew's friend. When I finally gathered enough evidence to go to the police, a car veered off the road and struck me dead on the spot. That crash was no accident. It was orchestrated by my brother and Matthew to ensure their darling wouldn't have a single thing to worry about. Resentment, indignation, and agonizing pain consumed me. I hated myself for being so stupid, for never once doubting Matthew. Matthew's voice rang out again, cutting through my painful memories. "Daphne, I have to head over that way to handle some business anyway. Let me take your designs to the hall for you, okay?" I smiled and replied, "Sure, thank you." Matthew patted my face with a doting expression. "Silly girl, why are you being so polite with me? We're getting married soon." I gently pushed him away. "Go on, hurry up." As Matthew walked away with the designs in hand, I watched his retreating figure with cold eyes. Who would ever want to marry you? You're going to hell to marry your childhood sweetheart instead. As soon as Matthew left, I called Natalie Vance, my rival in the competition. The phone rang for a long time before she finally picked up. "Wrong number?" Her voice was cold, dripping with sarcasm. I got straight to the point. "I gave your old design to someone else. You know, the one still saved on the school server." Natalie snorted. "Can't you just tell me what you're up to?" "Helping you get some publicity," I answered without hesitation. Natalie and I had been rivals since college, never giving an inch to one another, so there was no way she wouldn't understand me. After all, the person who understands you best isn't your family or your friends. It isn't even yourself. It's your enemy. "You? Being that kind?" Natalie's voice turned contemptuous and mocking. "Tell me your real motive or I'm hanging up." I explained my plan to her in detail. Even if she told Matthew, I had nothing to lose. I wasn't planning on acting the part of the devoted fiancé anymore anyway. But I knew Natalie wouldn't tell him. I knew her character. Furthermore, in my past life when I was drowning in the plagiarism scandal, Natalie was the first person to stand up for me. She had stated firmly, "Daphne Young would never plagiarize. She despises those kinds of dirty tactics." Natalie went silent for a few seconds before asking, "Are you sure they'll use my work for the entry?" I replied, "Just wait and see." There was another silence before she uttered a single word. She hung up. I called my assistant, Casey, and told her to announce the launch of a new product, the very work I had originally intended to use for the competition. Casey was confused. "Boss, with your current reputation, you didn't even need to enter that competition. Why did you sign up in the first place?" "Because," I said with a self-deprecating laugh, "I used to be very stupid. I had only signed up because Matthew told me he wanted more people to see my work. He said he wanted everyone to know how talented his fiancé was. It was only after dying once that I realized everything he did was to pave the way for the woman he truly loved." Suppressing the hatred in my heart, I urged Casey to get to work quickly. Matthew didn't come by my office after that. That afternoon, I made time to go home and change all the locks, then stayed there to work. It wasn't until the next morning that I received a phone call from Matthew. Matthew was at my office. "Daphne, why did you change the locks? What's the nuke? I'll just put your fingerprint in later, I replied nonchalantly. It's all because of my designs. I've been a bit paranoid lately, and I wanted to make sure no one could steal them. You should probably stay away from my place for a while, too. Matthew looked displeased. I'm not a stranger. Why are you acting like I'm some kind of burglar? Don't you even trust me anymore? I gave a soft laugh. Why are you getting so worked up? Your fiancé has a high sense of security. Shouldn't you be happy about that? But now I can't even get into the house, Matthew grumbled, his voice thick with resentment. Is all this really necessary? I'm doing this for your sake, I said, curling my lip into a gentle smile. If no one else can get in and only you could, then if my sketches went missing, wouldn't the blame fall right on your head? Matthew, dear, I'm thinking of you. How are you going to reward me for being so thoughtful? Matthew choked on his words. Right, yeah. Did you submit my entry yet? I asked. His tone finally softened. It's submitted. Don't worry, you can trust me with this. Thanks. I'm hanging up now, I'm busy. Without waiting for him to speak, I cut the call. Matthew didn't come looking for me after that, nor did he go to my house. Now that he was finally out from under my watchful eye, of course, he was going to spend time with his mistress. With that thought, I immediately contacted a private investigator and soon received intimate photos of Matthew Miller and Lily Huang. In the photos, the two of them were smiling so sweetly. I wondered if they would still be smiling like that when they're getting married in hell. Matthew's joy didn't last long. After seeing the announcement for my studio's new product launch on our official website, he rushed to my office to find me. Daphne, when did you prepare a new product? Why didn't you say a word to me? His tone was anything but polite. I laughed. The studio is in my name alone. Besides, you aren't even in this industry. Why should I have to tell you? Clearly, the design you prepared for the new product is better. If you had used it for the competition, you would have definitely won first place. Why did you hide it? If I had seen your new product first, I would have insisted you use that design for the entry. Daphne, your studio might be yours, but you don't know how to run it. You don't understand how to build your own reputation. I'm trying to help you, and I'm teaching you how to do business. You might be a capable designer, but you are absolutely not a talented businesswoman. This studio will never grow under your management. I've said my piece. Think about it carefully. I don't want this to happen again. Matthew's paternalistic lecture made me burst out laughing. I actually laughed out loud. Matthew's face hardened. What's so funny? Daphne, are you even listening to me? I looked Matthew up and down, feigning concern. Isn't your little company having financial troubles lately? Is that settled yet? Matthew froze for a moment before realizing I was mocking him. His own company was failing, yet he had the audacity to teach someone else how to do business. He nodded grimly. Fine. I won't interfere in your business anymore. Don't blame me later for not warning you when you regret it. I smirked. Why are you so angry? You're being quite moody. Matthew looked at me with a cold gaze, as if I were a child who didn't know any better. Think it over yourself. He turned to leave but stopped at the door. He turned back and said, As for my company's financial issues, I actually haven't solved them yet. He took a deep breath, his voice softening. Daphne, could you lend me some money? When he saw I didn't agree immediately, he hurried to add, We're getting married sooner or later anyway. What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. Once the company goes public, I'll transfer shares to you. His tiny company would be lucky to make $10 million a year, yet he was dreaming of going public. He was painting a very large, very round pie in the sky. But Matthew hadn't always been like this. When I first met him, we were both very young. Our careers were just starting, and we were both full of faith in the future. I had seen a reflection of myself in him back then, driven and hardworking. Later, we both indeed grew. My brand gained international influence and became a favorite among young people. Matthew grew too. His small startup gradually gained scale. It was during this time that I noticed him changing, becoming more confident, and eventually arrogant. He spent his days lecturing me, telling me I didn't know how to market my brand, while in reality, his company was the one hitting a wall first. He even dared to scheme against me for my money. Did he and Lily Huang think I was an ATM? I put on a troubled face. My new product just launched, and it takes a lot of money to promote it. I don't have any cash. Matthew's face darkened instantly. I was just joking. I knew I couldn't count on you. He truly was a master of changing expressions. My new product announcement received enthusiastic support as soon as it was posted. This, of course, was to be expected. In my previous life, Lily Wong had used this collection to enter the competition and achieved a resounding success. Because of it, she transformed from a complete nobody in the fashion world into a shining star. That's why, upon being reborn, I wanted to reclaim my work first. Lily, of course, saw my new product launch. My brother Silas had invited her over to our house, which is how she found out. My parents even assumed Lily was Silas's girlfriend, so they treated her with incredible warmth. Lily giggled as she explained, "Mr. and Mrs. Young, Silas and I are just very close friends. We've known each other since college and stayed in touch after graduation. He knew how much I admired Daphne's work, so he helped me come over today to get acquainted." Silas immediately chimed in. "Lily is also entering the national design competition this time. She's basically your junior, and she's a good friend of mine, so make sure you help her out a little, okay?" Lily looked toward me with a look of fake adoration that lacked even a shred of sincerity. I had actually seen through it in my past life, but she wasn't my friend or my fan, so I hadn't cared whether the admiration she spoke of was real or staged. The person who truly disappointed and heartbroken me was this brother of mine. He kept putting food on Lily's plate while telling me to help her more, never once looking my way. In his heart, there had long been no room left for his sister. "That's enough, Silas," Lily said with a beaming smile, then turned to me. "Daphne, I saw the announcement for your new collection. It's so beautiful. Why didn't you use that set for the competition?" Hearing this, Silas immediately set down his chopsticks and frowned at me. "She's right, Daphne. Your new designs are so stunning and they fit the competition theme perfectly. Why didn't you enter them? You would have definitely taken first place." My brother didn't even bother to hide the look of reproach on his face. If I hadn't died and come back to life, I truly would have thought he was looking out for my best interests. I let out a soft laugh. "Didn't you tell me to help your good friend? If I used that collection and won the championship, what would happen to her?" Before Silas could speak, I turned to Lily. "Don't tell me you aren't confident enough to win on your own. It's okay, though. This industry is very hard to break into right now. Both talent and luck are crucial. If you don't have either, I suggest you consider a career change." Silas abruptly dropped his chopsticks and stood up. "Daphne, that's uncalled for. How can you say Lily doesn't have talent?" Lily didn't say a word. She just bit her lower lip and lowered her head, playing the part of the pitiful victim. To put on a White Lotus act like that in my own home, right in front of my parents, she really was addicted to the drama. My mother hurried to play peacemaker. "Let's just eat. Let's eat first. Daphne, Lily is new to the profession. You should encourage her more. Don't talk like that." I gave a sincere-looking smile and advised, "Mom, I'm only saying this for her own good. After all, she's Silas's friend. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't even bother." "See? I've even offended my own brother now." I shrugged. "Fine, I'll stop talking. I'll just respect everyone's destiny." Lily immediately looked up. "Daphne, let's just eat." I slowly curled my lip into a smirk. "Who knows? Maybe this time you'll have the luck and the talent to win the championship. You'd become famous overnight." Lily straightened her posture slightly, putting on the air of a resilient, unyielding flower. "Daphne, even though I'm just starting out, I might not have your reputation yet, but I have confidence in myself," Lily said. I nodded. Confidence is good. I'm looking forward to the final results of the competition as well." After several rounds of selection, 5 finalists were eventually chosen. Lily Huang was among them, but my name was nowhere to be found. Naturally, Lily and Silas couldn't wait to rub the results in my face. Silas brought Lily straight to my office. "Lily made it to the finals. Did you hear?" Silas was as ecstatic as if this stroke of good fortune had happened to him personally. Then, his expression shifted into a mask of feigned concern. "But why didn't you make the cut? With your talent, there's no way you shouldn't be in the finals." Lily tugged at Silas's sleeve, giving it a gentle shake. "Stop it, Silas. Daphne is already feeling down. I was genuinely impressed by their coordinated performance. Did Matthew really not notice this? Was he not jealous at all?" I stood up, walked over to Lily, and said sincerely, "Well then, congratulations." Lily's eyes sparkled. "Thank you, Daphne. Honestly, you're already amazing. No matter what, you'll always be the senior I respect the most." Silas stood beside her, gloating. "See that? You were looking down on Lily before, and now look, she's in the finals and you're not. Isn't this a case of the new wave overtaking the old? And the old wave just got smashed on the beach. Lily gave Silas a playful, rebuking swat. Silas, don't talk about Daphne like that. She's my senior. I won't allow you to speak of her that way. Fine, I'll listen to you, Silas said dotingly. Lily wrinkled her nose adorably and turned back to me. Daphne, please don't be sad. I'm sure you'll make the finals next time. I smiled and nodded. I'll take that as a blessing. Oh, right. The results are being announced this afternoon. Shouldn't you head to the convention hall to prepare? Lily nodded vigorously. Yes, I have to go right now. Bye, Daphne. She waved at me and pulled Silas along as they left. Once they were out of the office, I called Natalie Vance. Your work made it to the finals. Congratulations. Natalie let out a laugh. It seems my skills have really regressed over the last few years if I can't even beat my own student projects. You just need to reclaim your old creative spark. I paused for a moment before continuing. Stop pouring all your energy into feuding with me. Natalie replied indifferently. I like feuding with you. We've been at it for so many years, it would be boring to stop now. I agree, I said. I truly value a rival like you. I had always actually liked Natalie's style, but as the saying goes, talent isn't the only thing that matters. You need luck, too. And I had a feeling Natalie's luck was about to change. When the competition results were announced that afternoon, Natalie and I headed to the hall together. As soon as she walked in, she spotted Lily Huang, along with Matthew Miller and Silas. Your fiancé and your brother are both standing by that woman's side, Natalie noted with a smug look. Daphne, your life really is a failure. But I could tell her sharp tongue was just a front. Her eyes were filled with nothing but disgust and contempt for those three. What is wrong with you? Natalie frowned at me. Losing your fiancé is one thing. He's nothing special. But how did you manage to get your own flesh and blood brother stolen too? I shrugged. I can't help it. Lily Huang's charm is just too powerful. Natalie leaned in and whispered, Do your brother and Matthew know about each other's relationship with Lily? I shook my head. I honestly don't know. I had already received intimate photos from the private investigator. Lily with Matthew, and Lily with Silas. She truly was a master of time management, giving both of them her undivided attention. Lily was the first to spot me. She paused for a second, then ran over with a smile. Daphne, why are you here? Matthew and Silas followed close behind. Yeah, Daphne, why'd you come? You didn't make the finals, Silas said, glancing toward Matthew as he spoke. Matthew stepped forward and grabbed my hand. Daphne, you should head home first. Bookmark. I pulled my hand away. Why? Matthew put on a display of concern. Since you didn't make the finals, I'm worried that seeing the final results will make you sad, and that would break my heart. Natalie let out a sharp scoff and laughed, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Daphne, your fiancé is just so thoughtful. Matthew glared at Natalie, annoyed. What are you doing here? Daphne doesn't want to see you. I don't like the people Daphne doesn't like. Please leave. Are you part of the organizing committee? Natalie's voice was much sharper when speaking to Matthew than it ever was with me. Did you buy this whole building or something? I quickly consoled Matthew. Don't get so worked up. She's right. If you get angry over the truth, it just makes you look petty. Matthew frowned. Daphne? You? Forget it. Let's just go inside, I said with a smile, patting Matthew's hand. I glanced at Lily and Silas before heading in with Natalie. After a few steps, I turned back to look. The three of them were standing there, staring at one another with eyes full of panic and anxiety. Were they afraid I'd see my own design win and make a scene right then and there? Well, they could rest easy. I definitely wasn't going to make a scene. It was almost time to announce the top three, and Natalie's work was still in the running. I asked her, Are you nervous? Natalie shot me a look. You're seriously underestimating me. What is there to be nervous about? She looked perfectly calm, but I was the one feeling a bit anxious. Third place was announced. It wasn't Natalie. Second place was announced. Still not Natalie. I grabbed Natalie's hand. First place. Usually, Natalie would have shoved my hand away instantly, but this time, she used her other hand to pat mine gently. Just stay calm. Lily Huang walked onto the stage, beaming and moved to tears. I'm so happy the judges liked my work. For a newcomer like me, receiving this award is the greatest encouragement. I will definitely keep working hard, and I hope everyone continues to support me. The audience erupted into thunderous applause. Just then, Matthew and Silas crouched down and made their way toward Natalie and me, swapping seats with other audience members. Silas even swapped places with Natalie. The two of them sat down on either side of me. Were they afraid I'd lose it? I looked at Matthew. You really submitted my work, didn't you? Matthew stared at me, his large hand gripping mine tightly. His voice was low, carrying a heavy warning. This is not the place to cause a scene. We'll talk when we get home. Yeah, Daphne, things have already reached this point, Silas whispered from my other side. Besides, even if you didn't win this contest, you already have a reputation. If you really make a fuss, you'll be the one losing face, right? I turned to look at him. So you knew about this too? Silas went silent. I let out a soft laugh. Don't worry, you two. I definitely won't be making a scene. Matthew looked at me, half believing. Really? Natalie leaned over from the other side, a smirk playing on her lips. Daphne definitely won't be making a scene. Because, she let out a short, sharp laugh, I'm the one who's going to do it. Before Matthew and Silas could even react, Natalie stood straight up and shouted, I'd like to report a fraud. Lily Huang's entry is a blatant plagiarism of my work. The statement was like a bomb dropped into still water, causing an immediate explosion of chaos throughout the hall. Lily stood frozen on stage, looking like she'd seen a ghost. Silas lunged for Natalie, grabbing her arm to pull her back down. What the hell do you think you're doing? Natalie violently shook off his hand. Silas moved to grab her again, but I suddenly stood up and delivered a stinging slap across his face. Matthew rushed over to stop me, but I didn't hold back, slapping him repeatedly with everything I had. The venue descended into total mayhem. The organizers and judges were blindsided by the sudden violence and accusations. Finally, the guest presenter stepped in to try and mediate. Since this was a live broadcast, the online streaming room became a frenzy. The viewership skyrocketed from a few thousand to 30,000 in an instant, and the numbers were still climbing at a dizzying pace. You're lying, Lily shrieked from the stage. Matthew roared at Natalie. Natalie Vance, this has nothing to do with you. Shut your damn mouth. Natalie laughed nonchalantly. How does this have nothing to do with me? Lily Huang's entry is my work. Do you have any proof? Lily sobbed, playing the victim. I drew every line of that entry myself. How could it be yours? Natalie spoke slowly and clearly. Because that is a piece from my college years. It's still on display at our university and has been for years. Even in the live chat, netizens started chiming in. She's right. Natalie is my senior. Her work has been on display at the school for ages. We can testify for her. Right on cue, our alma mater posted on social media, confirming that everything Natalie said was the absolute truth. The audience in the hall erupted, throwing plastic bottles onto the stage and chanting in unison, Plagiarist! Plagiarist! Matthew and Silas both rushed onto the stage to shield Lily. Suddenly, as if struck by an idea, Matthew pointed a trembling finger at me. She's the one who copied it. She asked me to submit this work for her. I must have misunderstood. The real plagiarist is the famous designer, Daphne Young. In a heartbeat, I became the center of attention. Every eye in the building was fixed on me. I slowly curled my lip into a smirk and coolly asked Matthew, What on earth are you talking about? I withdrew my registration. I'm not even in this competition. Matthew turned pale. What? I laughed and repeated it for him. I'm not a contestant. If you don't believe me, go ask the organizers. At that moment, the three of them huddled together on stage realized they had been played. The organizers immediately announced the disqualification of Lily Huang's first-place win. The judges were even more furious, publicly condemning the act. We will blacklist all plagiarists, they declared. This is an insult to the entire fashion industry. Lily's world crumbled. She had planned to use this competition to launch her career and secure her place in the industry. Instead, she had become a pariah. The fashion world is a tight-knit community, and Lily knew it. She would never find work in this field again. She wailed inconsolably on stage before being hauled away by Matthew and Silas. To save their image, the organizers invited Natalie onto the stage, intending to award her the first-place prize for her original work. Natalie wasn't one to be polite either, and she happily accepted the award. This year's national design competition garnered the highest ratings in its history. The organizers were actually grateful to Natalie and me for bringing such massive publicity to the event, transforming it from a niche industry affair into a viral sensation. Reporters swarmed the hall, and by the time Natalie and I headed out, the exit was packed. Lily Huang and her two knights were already surrounded by a sea of microphones. Seeing us, a portion of the press corps broke off and rushed in our direction. Daphne! Matthew Miller shoved through the crowd, struggling to reach me. He glared at me with pure venom, as if I were his sworn enemy. Was it you? I know it was you. You're the one who gave those designs to me. How did they end up belonging to someone else? You set me up. You used me to get to Lily, didn't you? Cameras were shoved into our faces as Matthew vented his fury. In stark contrast, I remained perfectly calm. Amidst the rising storm, I was as composed as a seasoned fisherman waiting for a catch. My fiancé said he wanted to help me submit my entry, so I handed my work over to him, I said, my voice steady. So why exactly did it end up in someone else's hands? I looked at the bewildered Matthew and took a slow, deliberate step toward him. Matthew, aren't you my fiancé? Or should I say, are you Lily Wong's fiancé now, too? I raised my hand and delivered another sharp slap to Matthew's face. Then I smiled thinly and glanced around at the surrounding lenses. Since everyone is gathered here, I'd like to take this opportunity to announce that my engagement to Matthew Miller is officially over. Daphne, you... Oh, and one more thing, I interrupted. Mr. Miller runs a small firm called Miller & Co. They've been having some financial difficulties lately. I'll give him a free plug while I'm at it. If anyone is looking to invest, you better move fast. Mr. Miller is quite the growth stock. I smiled directly into the camera before looking back at him. See how good I am to you, Matthew? I'm even helping you advertise. Where's my thank you? Matthew's face turned a violent shade of purple. You? I waved him off. I'm sure everyone has plenty of questions for you. I won't stay and steal your spotlight. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Please excuse us. I grabbed Natalie's hand and pushed through the crowd. When we passed Lily and Silas, I paused. Oh, right, Lily? Didn't you say you admired me so much and wanted to be just like me? I'd love to see some of your own work sometime. Lily's eyes were swollen from crying as she shot me a look of pure malice. I feigned shock. Don't tell me there isn't any. No wonder you had to steal from others. But don't worry, you won't have to stress about how to steal designs anymore, since you've been blacklisted by the entire industry. The reporters couldn't help but snicker. Silas glared at me, his face twisted with rage. Daphne, you. I kicked him hard in the shin. Is that any way to talk to your sister? Whatever. I'm done with you anyway. Don't come crawling to me for money later. Good luck, little brother. I'm sure you can support yourself. With an elegant wave, I walked away with Natalie. Once we were in the car, Natalie burst into laughter. You have a wicked tongue. I'm realizing now that you were actually being easy on me all those years. Better late than never to find out, I smirked. Natalie and I became household names. Not only did my new product line receive a massive boost in attention, but netizens flooded my social media, calling me the Queen. The Queen is so cool. Stop being a designer and open a class on how to destroy people with such elegance. Haha, her clapbacks are top tier. I'm obsessed. She is my one and only queen. She didn't let a single one of them off the hook. The Queen doesn't use a broadsword on the weak, but her little pocket knife is way more lethal. Natalie launched her own brand as well, and orders came in faster than she could handle. Even major e-commerce platforms were begging for a collaboration. Of course, the most famous person remained Lily Huang, along with her two knights. Lily's social media was a wasteland of insults. People weren't just calling her out for plagiarism, they were launching personal attacks. Hey, little homewrecker, how are Daphne's fiancé and brother in bed? Care to write a review? Little homewrecker, did Daphne murder your whole family in a past life or something? Is that why you're back for revenge? Can we leave past lives out of this? Her character is just trash, plain and simple. Do the three of you sleep together? Or is it a Monday, Wednesday, Friday rotation? Signal for help if you're getting tired, sweetie. Wow, must be nice. Can I join? I'm definitely stronger than those two losers. Helpless, Lily had to set her accounts to private, but the internet was still teeming with gossip about her. They even started digging up her relatives. This is the era of social media, and I had lived through its storms before. Lily Huang had gone from a nobody to a falling star. Fame and fortune had come too easily, making her arrogant and reckless. But now, in a single day, it had all flipped. Lily, like a wounded animal, lunged at me. Daphne Young, you ruined me. You ruined everything. I stared into her crazed eyes, unwavering. When the distance between us was only a few inches, I delivered a powerful kick. Lily's small frame was sent reeling, ending up sprawled on the floor. I looked down at her coldly. You chose this path. Now live with the consequences. This is the price you have to pay. A sarcastic smile played on the corner of my lips, but the game between us isn't over yet. Lily Huang lay motionlessly, her face pale, her eyes filled with agony. That kick of mine had been incredibly powerful. At that moment, Matthew Miller and Silas rushed over to help Lily up. Lily! Both called her name simultaneously. Matthew turned to me, his eyes blazing with fury. Daphne Young, are you insane? Lily is a fragile girl. How could you be so cruel? Are you even a woman? I let out a mocking laugh, then slammed my knee hard into his groin. If you're not sure I'm a woman, I'm sure you are. Matthew went pale from the pain, clutching his lower body and groaning miserably. Silas tried to step in to stop it, but I slapped him right in the face. Shut up! Security guards quickly rushed in and dragged the three of them outside. I turned to look at Matthew, my tone dripping with ridicule. Matthew Miller, if you have any free time, you should go worry about your company. Thanks to the advertisements I had sponsored for him, his company was already on the brink of bankruptcy. That evening, my mother called and told me to come home for dinner. I knew full well that Mom and Dad wanted to talk about that matter with me, but I decided to go back anyway. Some things are better resolved once and for all. Silas was also at home. Seeing me, he bit his lip tight, his eyes glaring at me as if I were his mortal enemy. The word sister he used to call me so affectionately now felt like a knife twisting in my heart. My parents sighed, looking at me with eyes full of disappointment. Seeing that I remained unmoved, they pulled Silas in front of me. Silas, apologize to your sister right now. Silas stubbornly resisted. No, I won't apologize even if I die. People like her. Daphne Young, it turns out you're so malicious. You knew everything beforehand, but deliberately hid it just because you wanted to completely ruin Lily. What did Lily do wrong? She just wanted to build a career in the fashion world, that's all. I'm telling you, this idea was thought up by Matthew and me. Don't try to frame Lily. If you dare to make things difficult for Lily again, I won't let you get away with it. My father angrily slapped Silas across the face. Shut your mouth. I told you to apologize to your sister. No. Silas remained obstinate. I nodded. Mom, Dad, if he doesn't want to apologize, then forget it. Don't force him to do something he doesn't want to do. Silas, are you done talking? If you're done, then get out. This house is mine. You're not allowed to stay here anymore. And remember, I've canceled all your credit cards. From now on, you're on your own. Our family had always been well off, but since I became famous in the fashion industry, life had become even wealthier. This house was bought by me, and I had been the one supporting Silas since he graduated. Before, I thought we were a family, so I was willing to help him. But now, Silas doesn't deserve my good treatment. Silas still refused to yield, glaring at me with hatred. You think having money means you can do everything? I don't need your money. Saying that, he turned and left. My mother sighed and came over to my side. Daphne? I looked at Mom coldly. Don't worry about him, Mom. If you want to continue supporting him, go ahead, but don't use my money to do it. My parents were not people who favored sons over daughters. They had always treated Silas and me fairly. Therefore, I believed they would understand my decision. A month later, because Matthew couldn't attract any investors, his company went bankrupt. Yet, he was very resilient and never came to me begging for help. It seemed his feelings for Lily Huang were indeed sincere. I actually admired Matthew for that. As for Silas, from the day I kicked him out of the house, he had never returned. Having no money, he had to work as a delivery driver, waking up early and staying up late every day to make a living. Currently, all three were living in Matthew's house. That house was still being paid off month by month, with tens of thousands in bank loans due each period. So they could only work together as delivery drivers to make ends meet. What surprised me was that those three seemed to be genuinely trying to live stably day by day. Natalie Vance told me, "Can't you tell? The three of them now, cough cough, are together." Even though I had predicted this would happen, hearing it still felt hard to accept. Were they really together? Then that was strange. Natalie turned and asked, "How did you know Matthew would help Lily Huang steal your work?" "Daphne, it seems you really hate them. Don't deny it, I understand you. I can tell just by looking." I clenched my hands tight. Of course, I hated them. In my previous life, it was those three together who had caused my death. I told Natalie, "I want to send them to hell." Natalie surprisingly hugged me tight. "Fine. If you don't want to say, then forget it." I gently pushed her away. She asked again if I needed any help. In my previous life, Natalie had helped me a lot. I was truly grateful. But this time, I wanted to resolve it myself so I could completely let go of the hatred in my heart. I shook my head. Thanks, but not for now. Natalie raised an eyebrow. You think I'm that free? I burst out laughing at her comment. Less than 3 months later, Matthew couldn't afford the rent and was evicted by the landlord from the apartment. The three of them had to rent a small, affordable apartment. So that Lily wouldn't feel uncomfortable, they had rented a rather luxurious apartment and paid a year's rent in advance. Matthew and Silas had to slave away from morning till night to earn money to pay the debt. I thought Lily Huang would truly love them, but to my surprise, the private investigator sent me another video. In the footage, Lily was dating yet another man. While being intimate with him, she insulted Matthew Miller and Silas. Those two losers are like leeches, she said, sounding exhausted. She swayed as she wrapped her arms around the man's neck. Can you help me? Let's travel abroad together. The man gave a mocking laugh. Keep dreaming. I'm just playing with you. There's no way I'm taking you anywhere. Just keep taking their money. Lily pouted. You're so heartless. Men are all a bunch of ungrateful jerks. Despite this, during the day she still went to the hospital to take care of Matthew and Silas. I knew she wanted to discard them, and I was ready to help her do it. But Lily was one step ahead. She manipulated the two men into coming to see me to apologize. I can't bear to see you guys working so hard for money, she had told them. If you just swallow your pride and submit to Daphne, you can still get money out of her. Matthew and Silas looked at each other, trying to suppress their rage, and then spoke to me in a conciliatory tone. Daphne, I know I was wrong. Give me another chance. I still love you, Matthew said. Silas also approached me. Daphne, I'm your own brother. How can you have the heart to watch me suffer like this? I shook my head with a mocking smile. You two are truly too naive. Watch this video. Lily doesn't love you at all. She's just using you. I pulled up my phone and showed them the video the private investigator had just sent me. Both of their faces turned deathly pale. I continued, go find out the truth for yourselves. Don't let her use you anymore. Matthew and Silas turned and walked away. That night, I received a phone call from my mother. She was sobbing as she spoke. Daphne, something happened to your brother. I rushed to the police station. It turned out that Matthew and Silas had murdered Lily Huang. I hired a skilled lawyer to defend them, but in the end, the court still sentenced both of them to death. I knew this was the end they deserved. On the day of the execution, the rain poured relentlessly. Standing before their unmarked graves, I didn't feel the surge of joy I had imagined. Instead, a strange sense of serenity washed over me. My parents seemed to age a decade overnight, their hair turning stark white. I set up a generous retirement fund for them and decided to leave this city of painful memories behind. Natalie Vance saw me off at the airport, her gaze lingering with a complex mix of emotions. Are you ever coming back? She asked. I smiled, looking up at the sky that had cleared into a brilliant blue after the storm. Probably not. In my previous life, I died in a cage of resentment and isolation. In this life, I reclaimed everything, but in doing so, I personally severed the final ties to those I once called family. As the plane ascended, the bitterness of 2 lifetimes finally dissipated into the clouds. From now on, I am no longer a pawn in anyone's game. I am simply myself, free and proud.